officials at a bunch of practices. I'm just curious, are there any specific points of emphasis you're having them check you guys out for, or they have communicated any new things that you guys might have to adjust to?
No, there's not. This is the year where there's probably not going to be a ton of rule changes. The clock change, I guess, right now, it looks like it's going to be the most significant of our changes, which in a practice format doesn't affect you a whole lot. So, no, I think it's just general maintenance, being able to educate the guys. There's something to when you're out there practicing as opposed to like us going in and correcting it in the film room, them actually seeing a flag fly and the other side competitively has to go forward or go back. It just feels more game-like, and obviously having those guys out there watching it, we can't see everything at every single time as we're coaching. And so it's great. We're able to use them obviously in the team drills, but even in a lot of our competitive drills, whether it's lineman one-on-ones or it's receiver DB one-on-one or Skelly or inside run game. It's been very valuable, and we're lucky being here. We've got a lot of those guys that are close, and they want to come over here and get work as well. So it's been a good fit for both to have them here.
Carson Tabaracci is someone rotated with experience on both sides of the ball. What's been the process the last 2 years, just trying to find a spot for him?
Well, there hasn't been much process just because he's been hurt. Obviously the back surgery was a big deal, and then he's had a couple of small setbacks early this year, which he's been able to battle through. So, honestly, we really haven't even talked positions much with him. We brought him in originally, obviously on the defensive side. We knew he had obviously played both in high school and had started to play both at Utah. So yeah, it just as this has evolved and we finally been able to see him do some things physically really for the first time. We had a talk with him early this semester, just looking at the depth chart, saying, hey, you may have a pretty good opportunity offensively, and he was all for it. I think it's deep down where he wanted to play as well, and so yeah, he's come into a good situation. He's getting a lot of reps, he's getting a look, and his skill set's good for it. He's a physical kid, and he catches the ball well, and he's for missing as much as he has, and kind of first time in our offense, and really first time doing this much load physically. He's handled it well.
Coach, is there a position group that you'd like to see a little bit more from as spring ball winds down the next couple of weeks?
It'd be tough to single one out, honestly. There's, it's the middle of spring. There's so much to get better. There's a ton to be excited about. There's not a position group right now that I'm not really excited about, which I don't know that I could have honestly said last year. If I said it, I lied well. But really, there's a lot to unfold. There's going to be so many more position battles, and there'll be a lot of different ebbs and flows with this group through the end of spring and obviously into the fall. That it'll be really interesting to see it all play out. And obviously we're going to add, the rest of our high school signees and probably a couple more transfers before it's all said and done as well. So, no, I think you got other than position groups, kind of just your classes of guys, right? You've got your new freshmen that are all promising, that need to grow up and show they're going to be contributors and they can consistently do it at this level. You got your returners that have improved, but you want to see them continue to do that, and then obviously the transfers fit somewhere in the middle. We're halfway, a little over halfway through now. Kind of the bulk of our scrimmages left, and to be able to get into some of those live situations and really watch us tackle, really watch us have the opportunity to run through tackles and finish blocks and then get off blocks defensively. That's, I would say, with the remaining practices we have, 2 of them being primary scrimmages, both this Saturday and then obviously the spring game. Those will be, I think, the 2 things we'll be paying attention to most as a coaching staff.
How do you evaluate Malachi Nelson's midway point?
He's done well. We're repping those 3 guys along with Jake Jensen. We're giving them all a little bit. And he's done well. He's taken advantage of having those 3 older quarterbacks in the room that are obviously there to kind of help him and guide him along, and then show him pretty good examples about how we want to do it. He's smart. He retains things well. He's a little bit like Tabo right now. Coming off not an ideal offseason from an injury standpoint. You know, you can tell he's not 100%, but the mental work that he's getting right now is great and will pay dividends. So I'm impressed with some of his recall and the things he's doing as a freshman. But you know, he's learning a lot, which will set the stage for him to really go have a great offseason like he's going to need, both physically and mentally, to be ready to compete when August gets here.
Has there been a noticeable uptick in recruiting early in the recruiting process versus a year ago, and were there any changes you guys made this offseason to your approach?
Yeah, I mean, I think the uptick is you're not. I mean, you're obviously talking about the future, but when we came in here and not had one game yet, you know, there's so much projection and like everybody's trying to have to figure out. It's like this vision that's out there that nobody's seen anything of, and either you want to be a part of it or you don't. Where now there's some context and some validity to it, and I think you can tell. I think some of being able to start to recruit some of these positions, especially some of the key positions that are most difficult to recruit, being able to start to build those relationships a year or multiple years in advance, which is required, is very, very important. You know, listen, we were fortunate in year one that there was a lot of guys throughout the country that we had already, you know, built relationships and established. It's just when we were working in a different place, and obviously, you know, several of those guys, you know, ended up here as Trojans. So that worked out well for us. But now being able to really get settled here, I think we know as a staff like so much more about the place and what our guys can expect, that we're, I think, a little more educated on it. And then I think, of course, we're trying to capitalize on the momentum. I mean, there's just so much momentum around this place, both with the season last year and what's upcoming, and there's going to be some cool announcements coming up here soon that are you know, just going to add to that. So we're you know, we feel that within our walls, and I think our recruits feel that when they communicate with us, and they certainly see it when they get on campus.
Do one more.
Saw Damani leave the field on a card. What's the update?
Oh, he's all good. He's just been sick, battling a little bit of a cough and some congestion. So it's been most sustained practice that he's had with us this spring. So been real positive. You know, you can see the bright spots and the talent, but certainly early in spring, you also can tell that he's working off some of the rust from missing so much. So it's been great for him to have some sustained practice, and he's getting better faster.